when you're young, starting out as a bullfighter, what kind of training are you getting? Footwork, balance.
Yeah, your fundamentals. Like you kind of just start with the basics of learn how to read cattle. Typically, bull riding, like you follow them shoulders. You'll tell when that bull drops a shoulder or whatever that they're going left or they're going right or whatever. So that's why you never really want to watch the head, but like going to that arena, like you're going to battle.
Yep.
And that's one guy that I'll go to war with. Really, I mean. We're
ride or die buddy.
Yeah, I know that he's got my back if I go down.
Yeah,
and vice versa. Like I'm gonna have his back if he goes down. So I got kicked in the face by a bull and it knocked me out, broke my cheek. Whenever you want to.
That's what he said. I feel like we should stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance before we start. That's how the rodeo starts, you know?
Well, yeah.
Is that Kirsten?
She said it's the national anthem, not the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh.
I'm surprised I heard that, to be honest with you.
It's my show. You are not very fun tonight. I finally can see your teeth back there smiling, so that's good. I'm not gonna do well with you being poopy pants.
Just wait till you have her on here.
She's gonna be on here. It'll be good. All right. Well, welcome to Frontline Outfitting podcast here. This week's guest is my good friend Erick Schwindt, who is also on our board, and many of you may know him as Slink. So
yeah.
we may as well just start there.
Thanks for having me.
How, we'll get into like where you grew up and all that kind of stuff, but how did you come by Slink?
It's kind of funny. So me, one of my buddies, Logan, and then another one of our buddies, we were going to California I think we were just going down there for a practice pin where they were going to college, and we're like, hey, we should make nicknames for each other.
Oh.
And so Logan was like, you should be Slink. He's like, because you're like tall and just slinky. I'm like, okay. Well, Logan's Lego because he's stackable, I guess. I don't know. Logan's nickname never actually held. And so Lego, you don't hear Lego anymore. And then Cody, his name was Stump because he was short and chunky. So that was his nickname for himself.
Well, the old rule is you can't come up with your own nickname, so that's good.
But it was kind of funny. There was somebody posted something, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years ago on Facebook, like, what's a nickname that's kind of like stuck and everybody knows it? And it is kind of, everybody knows it that's around the U.S. that we've rodeoed with. Slink has been known everywhere. Like,
well, it's kind of a problem for me. I'm not going to lie, because sometimes I have to like verify or be clear on who I'm talking about. Because some people know you as Slink,
right,
and some people know you as Erick. But
who's Slink? Like,
I know. So it's like, oh, do you know Slink? So, well, that's good.
Yeah,
you're cool. So that's a cool nickname.
Thanks.
They just shortened mine. My dad, I think they called my dad Terp in high school. So they just, I don't know. My brothers got called that, so I just get called Terp. I don't know if it's sticking for my kids though. I think that's kind of the. I don't know if it's passed on, but. Okay. So where'd you grow up?
I was actually born in Modesto, California, and then we moved from there when I was 2, I believe, and then we moved up to. I think we moved into state in Oregon. And then we were there for, I don't know, probably a couple of years. And then we moved up on the mountain, McCauley Mountain, where my parents still live now. And I think I lived there for 16, 17 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Central Oregon and have kind of been, well, I've been here since then, really. Me and Logan, we were renting a place there in Pal Butte for a year, and then we were able to move out there to the Keystone.
Okay.
And I think I've been working there for 14 years, and I think I've lived out there for 14 years now.
Okay. Let's back up a little bit. So you went, what high school did you go to then?
It was State in high school. Yep.
Okay. Did you play sports in high school?
Yeah, I wrestled pretty much since I was probably 5 or 6, and then kind of wrestled all through high school. Played football my junior, senior year. I played football when I was younger, like in 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
And then high school came, my freshman year of high school. First day of practice for wrestling. I was wrestling I think a junior scene or whatever, and he planted his knee right in the top of my arm and snapped my arm. And so I was out for all my freshman year. Can't remember if I wrestled my sophomore year, but I wrestled all my junior year, and then my senior year came around, and our first tournament I tore my AC joint in my shoulder, and so I was out for the season. And so sports were a little rough in high school for me.
Yeah.
But between sports and rodeo, I grew up kind of riding calves and steers when I was younger and just absolutely hated it. Did not like being tied onto them things. Mm-hmm. And then my brother rode bulls until he was, I think, 22 or something like that. But in the midst of that, one of our buddies, he talked me into fighting bulls. And so when I was 13, I went to my first bullfighting school in Washington. And it's just kind of stuck.
Who put that on? Like who was kind of the bullfighting schools back then?
So that school was a guy named Danny Newman. And he's a great bullfighter for years. I mean, and that's who I learned from. But now I don't know if Rowdy still does it, but that school, they used to put a school on there after that, and Rowdy Berry used to put that school on for I don't know how many years, to be honest with you.
And I'm going to ask you some questions because it seems like that, I think a lot of people that go to rodeos and maybe PBR events and things like that are, they get a little bio on somebody who maybe is fighting bulls, but it's interesting to, we sit here and we talk about, tactical stuff with military dudes and fire stuff, but the ins and outs of bullfighting is, I think a lot of people would be curious to know. So when you're young, starting out as a bullfighter, what kind of training are you getting? Footwork, balance.
Yeah, your fundamentals. Like you kind of just start with the basics of learn how to read cattle. That, and then like learning how to move a bull over for like throwing a fake or something like that. I mean, you can stand there and throw a fake at a bull, but a lot of them older, smarter bulls, it don't work so well. Like the calves you can do it on because they're just dumb. But for like an older bull, like you really gotta move your body to make them get on that lead, and that's how you learn how to read them leads. And even like cowboy protection wise, it's a lot of times when you're in cowboy protection, like you're working off of that lead a lot. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to cross grain them. But for the most part, you're kind of going with it, with that rotation of the bull. Especially like if a bull rider doesn't make that 8 seconds, you're still rolling with that bull, and you and your bull, your partner, or two partners really. Nowadays we go to a 3-man, but like you're standing with that flow with that bull just because it makes everything work so much smoother. Trying to cross grain stuff, it can really jam stuff up and get you kind of cluttered in them.
Is there a so if there's 2 or 3 of you, however that works, is there do you have different hey, I'm gonna continue with the spin, or and then someone like, is there a role? Everybody have a different role, or does it ebb and flow as that
It's more
ride is?
just flowing, really. I mean, you're it kind of depends where you have your guys' positions, really. For like a 3-man, you normally have a guy that's up on the top side of stuff, and then it like vice versa. Like say that bull's, so you got a guy that's kind of off to the left hand side where that bull's turning back to the left. Well, then everything switches. So then this guy's going to roll high side, and then you kind of just flow with it. And then so you got a 3-man that's just working in the rotation of where that bull is going.
Right.
Some people call it a blender,
Right.
but yeah. So it's more or less just, and anymore really, like when you're in pro rodeos, PBR, like you kind of know how to read that stuff and being able to work together like that too. So
What like what was the, when you first started out, what was the most telling sign that a bull would give you that is your number one read? What's your number one read in fighting bulls? Like in humans, a lot of times they'll say where the head goes, the body goes, or in sports you kind of watch people's their center line. Is there anything like that?
Not really, because I mean you can make a bull kind of do what you want on the ground. Like riding bulls, like that bull's head could be going left and that bull's going right, and so you never really want to follow that head of a bull because they'll be throwing that head everywhere.
Gotcha.
Typically bull riding, like you follow them shoulders. You'll tell when that bull drops a shoulder or whatever that they're going left or they're going right or whatever. So that's why you never really want to watch the head. But like for bullfighting wise, like freestyle stuff, you can kind of make them bulls maneuver kind of how you want to, for the most part, really.
This made me think of it when you were talking. I was thinking about something. How about like when you do, you guys see how many bulls do you see over and over again to the point where not so much you're doing you have a game plan, but I know that there's certain turns and bulls have certain tendencies, and even bucking horses and stuff like that. What do you guys use that to your advantage, or is that a thing?
Sometimes yes, but I mean, sometimes them bulls they get smart to like bull riders sometimes, and so you're like, oh, this bull's gonna go to the left. Well, a lot of times anymore, like some of them bulls are pretty smart about it. They feel that bull rider dive off to the left because they know it's going left, and then they go back to the right, and then you can't base your judgment on what you've seen before, because I mean, a lot of times they do something different.
Which that's smart. I mean, if you did everything, just because you've done it that way before,
Right.
it's not usually statistically good.
Yeah, and like bulls that are mean. Like sometimes they're mean, and sometimes they have that day that they don't really care about you and they just leave. Like, or they may swipe at you, but then they leave or whatever. Sometimes they'll swipe without you and just stay right with you, and then you're really scrambling to to get them bent around there to get out of there. But
wow. I can't remember if you told me or not, but I thought you told me that I remember growing up as a kid, Rob Smets was kind of at the height of his career and things like that. Did you go to any bullfighting schools of his, or I thought you told me that? Or
I went to his his school when I was 21, I think, when I went to his first school, and he put that one on in Coulee City, Washington. And then from there, we didn't really have much to do there. There wasn't really a lot of bull riders there. And so it was just really freestyle and stuff. And that was all we really did there, was fight bulls. And there wasn't really cowboy protection wise. And so we were actually in the process of trying to get our pro cards. And so he's like, I like how you guys fight, but I want to see some more. And so he invited us down to another school in, I want to say it was Liberty, Texas at the time. And so we went down there. when I say we, it was me and Logan. We went down there to go to that school, and it was a lot better because there was a lot more kids there, and so you could get a lot more reps in to be able to actually get in front of bulls.
Yeah.
And actually work your cowboy protection stuff too. And then we would, so from there, so Smets is one of my like idols really. We would go down there. We went down there for I think 2 or 3 years, and lived at their place there, and just rodeoed out of Texas. And so we'd stay down there for 2 or 3 months in the winter, and then come back home and rodeo up here.
What did you do? So you rodeo on the weekends or nights, and then just work?
We worked around the ranch there.
Yeah.
And then one of our buddies that lives down there, he'd hire us to do some like welding or whatever around the ranch, that because he had a concrete business and a welding business, and so we'd go and help him do different stuff. And
that's cool.
so we just kind of find odds and end jobs to do down there while we're down there while we weren't rodeoing too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun experience to go down there and do that kind of stuff.
So I don't want to leave this out because I know he's your best friend, but tell me about, like, how'd you and Logan meet, and where did your guys' paths finally cross, and you seem inseparable now?
Yeah, obviously he's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you exactly where we met, but it was obviously in rodeo. Like Logan rode bulls before he even started fighting bulls.
Oh.
And I mean, I'll tell you this, but he'll tell you the same thing. Is he sucked riding bulls. He got on bulls. He didn't really ride a whole lot of bulls.
Yeah.
And one day, a guy that I look up to as well, he's kind of like a second dad to me. Rusty, he goes, you need to pick either ride bulls or fight bulls, because he was starting to fight bulls at the same time as riding bulls. And he's like, you're probably right. And so he kind of just hung the old shaps up and started fighting bulls. And I mean, he's one of the top 5 bullfighters in the world right now too. So,
wow.
But yeah, that's one of my guys that I go to that, like, if we need somebody, and if he's available, like, that's who I'm going to first.
Yeah. What, maybe on a serious note, I don't know, what does it mean to you, and what's it like to have somebody like Logan or even like Roy, those guys around in the arena? Like, what's that feel like? What's that connection?
I mean, going to that arena, like, you're going to battle.
Yep.
And that's one guy that I'll go to war with, really. Yeah. I mean, we're
the ride or die buddy.
Yeah. I know that he's got my back if I go down.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, I'm going to have his back if he goes down. So it's one of those deals that those guys that you trust and know that they're going to be there when you take a hook in and you're getting rolled around, that they're going to be right there with you to pick them bulls off you too. And same with Roy. I mean, Roy's up and coming, and he's a great bullfighter. Yeah. Same thing with him. Like, he rode bulls for a long time, and he fought bulls for a little bit, and then he kind of went back to riding bulls, and then he kind of, same thing, he hung up his shaps and started fighting bulls. And he's one of the top up and coming kids too. Like, he's a great kid, and he's fought bulls solid for the last few years, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought him up just because I see him with you, a lot lately, and that's really cool. So with fighting bulls comes with injuries.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty blessed, honestly. I haven't had too bad of injuries. It's probably 4 years ago, I think it was now. I was in Sisters and was kicked in the face.
I have that video.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it to Jacob, and people are probably watching it right now, but
yeah. I got kicked in the face by a bull, and it knocked me out, broke my cheek. But it didn't affect me any. Like, yeah, it sucked, but 2 weeks later I was still fighting bulls. So, I had to wear a face mask for a couple rodeos, but other than that, it was.
Let's move on. Let's clarify. Even that afternoon, so You got kicked in the face that night at that perf.
Yeah.
You texted me at like midnight this picture of your skull, and I had no idea what it was. And I was at Evoc training the next morning up at Mount Hood Bachelor, and I'm looking at this thing going, what is it? And I finally see the circle that was painted where your cheek was been crushed in right here. And then you sent me the picture of your face all puffed up. And I was worried about you, and you're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just going to be pulling gates tonight. And I'm like, you're not even sitting out at all. You're
No. Nope. I mean, that's one thing that, I mean, obviously we're hard-headed, but like we just have that passion, and it's kind of just instilled you, really.
Any moments that like it fighting bulls, like just, and you can be honest or you don't have to be honest, but like fear, like a moment of like,
Oh, I mean, you're gonna have that fear, and I mean, even some of the best guys in the world, I mean, they talk about it too. Like, there's always gonna be that fear.
no, yeah, and I mean
fear,
like, yeah, it's bad not to function with that, but I mean a time where you were just like, maybe you felt helpless versus like,
I've been through those stages in rodeo, really, that there's been years that nothing went right. Like you just, like when I used to freestyle, like you get the dog crap hooked out of you every single time you go, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? And what is going on? And it's, or even cow protection, like one gets by you and a bull rider gets run over or something like that, and you're like, good golly, like you're like, pull your head out, dude. And I've had those days that I just want to throw my hands up and quit. Like, but that's where it comes with that fighting through that adversity to keep going and push yourself to get back to, and sometimes you gotta go back to the basics, start back over. And I've had to do that. Like it sucks, but it's part of rodeo. Like it's part of that, the game. And it's same with bull riders. I mean, they get hurt and they're in that slump or whatever. You just got to go back to the basics and just work on your fundamentals of what you know you're supposed to be doing, instead of trying to, I don't know how to say that, but instead of trying to keep fighting through that of your like of bad habits or whatever, just go back to the basics and start from square one again.
how do you manage, okay, so this is kind of two-part thing. So you have, I know I've talked to you after perfs, and you sometimes not, it's not all the time, but you've been frustrated with how maybe one ride went, and you were hard on yourself about something. How do you, and I know you're talking about going back to the basics, but how do you mentally push yourself to get past that?
Well, them bull riders, I mean, they're relying on you. And so, I mean, even if you have one at the start of the perf, whatever, there's 40 other guys that are counting on you there. So, I mean, you gotta brush it off.
Yep.
And then just keep going. I mean, and you just got to be more aggressive than you were that first one or the 10th one. But I mean, there's guys that are on the back of the buck and shoots that are relying on you to be there for them.
Yeah.
And we know it. I mean, yeah, we might be frustrated of what happened just recently or whatever, but it's one of those deals. You just gotta fight through that and really push yourself to be there for that next guy.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That, you know, it's kind of a wild thing to think about, you know, where it stops and it starts and then it stops and then it's a reset and you're doing it again. I mean,
For sure.
You're literally doing a scenario over and over and over again.
Right.
And it has pretty same parameters, but the outcome can be very, I mean, it's interesting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like you said, those guys are relying on you to be there for them. So
yeah.
What's been your highlight of your career?
I mean, obviously we all the bullfighters they're pushing to make the NFR, like be able to step foot in that arena. My biggest thing really this year, I was selected to work the NFR Open, which is in a week and a half really. And so that's kind of one of my biggest accomplishments I've had in fighting bulls, really. Like you win your, like those freestyle matches and stuff like that. But that's my biggest achievement that I've made in my career so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to make it to the NFR, but I'm not discounting myself, but there's a lot of great guys out there that have the rodeos that they get in front of them, the top 15 guys all the time that, and so they're probably more likely to be able to get into that situation.
Yeah. Is there politics in rodeo?
Oh gosh, it's real bad.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You don't have to tell me about it. I just
No, it is. I
curious
mean,
if there was.
There's a lot of politicking in it. A lot of guys will cut your throat doing it too. Like bullfighters that.
So the cowboy way is it's just like everything else.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is.
Being facetious.
You'll get guys that want a rodeo so bad that they'll cut a price down that, like, oh, like, well, this guy's going for this. That's fine, but that guy's going for that price for a reason. Like, I'm not saying that it's that they're bad, but they're going there because they're trying to, I guess, cut your throat, really.
Yeah.
Cut your cinch.
Sure.
And that's like a lot of times, like when we are trying to get rodeos or whatever, they get rid of somebody for some reason. Like you kind of want to know like what they were making before, or like you don't want to be like, oh, well, like they're going for 1,000, so I'm going to go for 600. Like,
Right.
That's doesn't look good on you by any means. Like,
Sure.
if you guys, if you want us there, then it's got to be even money all the way across, really. I don't know. That's just kind of how the rodeo world is, really. But then, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of politics in it between that and just everything else, like
Sure.
rodeo wise too.
Well, it's a business, right?
It is, for sure.
athletes and wow, yeah, it's crazy. Who is your, let's say, who's your all-time? Do you have, like, well, let's say not a bull so much that you fought or anything like that, but who do you have a favorite bull of your career, or just, it doesn't even have to be a bull you fought? Like, you a bushwhacker? Are you a red? Shoot, I just blanked the bull that Lane Frost rode.
Red Rock.
Red Rock. Yep.
I don't know that I have a favorite, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know ones that I don't like when I was freestyling.
Yeah.
But I mean, you draw them and you still have to fight them.
Yeah.
But it was never really that fun to fight them, just because they were either old or smart or faster than you. There's a few times, like when we were going to Ardmore, I drew a bull we called Blue Neck, and I don't know, I drew him I think three times, and I maybe got by him once.
He hooked you every other time.
Oh yeah, and he would dirty roll you too.
How, like, when you get hooked like that, I mean, getting hit by a football player and you're not wearing pads, kind of what the feeling is, or running into the hitch on your pickup that sticks out. That seems like what it would feel like for me.
I don't think you really feel it in the initial part of it because you got so much adrenaline, really.
Hitting the corner of the table.
Oh yeah,
or the counter.
yeah. But like afterwards, you're like, wow, that kind of actually hurt.
Yeah.
Like you get a little pretty sore.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it was in Salinas in, I think 2017. I think it was the last round. Actually, I had flat-footed a bull, which you just let a bull run at you, jump and split your legs open. And he caught me in the shin, and I didn't even know that he had done anything. Like, I know it, like, it fought me or whatever. Well, after I was done with my bullfight, I stepped out on the fence, and this paramedic taps me on the leg. I'm like, what? He's all, look at your shin. We split my shin wide open, and I didn't feel it until afterwards. Like, you don't know it. Like, there's so much adrenaline running that you don't know that. Like, unless it's like really bad, that adrenaline just takes away the initial ouch kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. What do you think? Like, how do you compare today's professional athletes and rodeo and bullfighters, and compared to like what dudes did and gals did back in the day? No training, they weren't, CrossFitting or
Right.
like. What have you seen change with just people's physiques and training and overall fitness in rodeo?
I mean, a lot of people are in the gym every day. I don't really do that very much.
The ranch is your gym.
Yeah. But that is, I mean, you see like Dusty Toughness, Webb. I mean, them guys they have a gym that it's CrossFit kind of stuff, or they'll find a gym at a rodeo they go to, and they go work out for a week there.
Wow.
But that's why they call Dusty the GOAT. Like, he's the greatest of all time. Because he's probably one of the most fit athlete bullfighters that is going down the road right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know that they really worked out too much back in the day.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is you're naturally gifted, physically gifted.
In some ways, I guess you could say
Fortunate.
that. Fortunate, yes, I could say.
I gotta pick a word that you're gonna be like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I work out here and there, but it's not like I'm in the gym 24/7.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's cool. You're about to get married too.
I am.
You'll be working out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be exciting.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be great, honestly.
Yeah. So what do you do when you're not fighting bulls and signing kids' autographs and things?
I work on a managed ranch in Primeville. We do a lot of hay and alfalfa, and then it's a lot of wildlife management stuff too, and whatnot. But I've been there for 15 years now, and I think I've been the manager there for like 2 years now. So,
What kind of wildlife management do you do? Do you hunt? Are you a hunting guide? You're a hunter. We hunt.
Yeah.
We've hunted.
Yeah, I bow hunt. I haven't really bow hunted the last couple of years, but
You've been busy.
yeah. I'll guide there at the ranch a little bit. Before the new owners took over, we had an outfitting business there, and so I guided quite a bit between cow hunts and deer, elk hunts, and then now the last couple of years I've gone to Mexico, and the owner has a ranch down there that we do mule deer and coos deer hunts. So that's kind of fun. I mean, to go down there and see some muleys that you don't see up here, the massive muleys that you don't really see around here. Like, you see once in a lifetime around here kind of thing.
I think you told me once, but I can't remember what's the name of those deer down there? Like those big muleys, those bucks that are like a sand something. I can't remember. Did they have a name for them? Or are they a different? I mean, I know they're mule deer. I'm just talking about like
the Sonora.
Maybe that's
the Sonora mule deer, I guess, really.
Yeah. Get really big.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot of nutrients down there, so I don't know how they get that big down there, but they're some of them are
like
massive.
those Arizona bulls.
Yeah.
And the Gilas and all that. They get massive.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a choice to hunt or guide, what do you want to do? You want to guide or you want to hunt?
I enjoy hunting. I think guiding is more stress, just because you got a guy that's paying a lot of money for you to get something, and if you don't get something, then you're like sorry, like, I mean, we tried, but we didn't get you anything. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
That'd be a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. What are you going to do? What's your plans for the future for bullfighting?
I've got probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in me, and then I'll be done. Like, I'm gonna go out when I want to be done and not be 52 years old when I should have been done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And have those guys that are like, oh, like you suck, dude. Like, you need to leave. But
Yeah.
no, I'll go out on the top of my game and be able to walk away with pride, really.
Yeah. Well, I know your 40-yard dash time's still good. You're not that old yet, because when the party bus jumped the fence in Sisters last year, I watched you with before your fiance at the time run that length of that arena pretty quick.
Yeah.
And you had your hands in the air.
I think that was an adrenaline thing too, like to be able to run across that arena that fast.
Oh, that's crazy.
But like that, like you kind of have to, because you don't know which way that bull's going. Like you're blind at that point, really, because he was behind the grandstands.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's weird because a lot of times, like at St. Paul, when I was a kid, maybe even before I was born, my dad talked about how they had how many cable wires around. And I think have 3.
Oh yeah.
Then this big Black Angus bull jumped it, and then they put a 4th one up. But they're kind of getting in the stands, and they're in the stands and the grandstands. But at Sisters, he just went over and disappeared into the
crowd,
the concourse back there. It's like, oh, God. Kirsten and I take off running. Oh, that was crazy. I missed out so far, but I think I'm gonna get one online. The party bus hat or T-shirt. I got to get one of those.
Oh yeah, I think Sisters has them too. I think they have a merch booth online too. That you can get them from them.
Yeah. And it's a good time to even just give a huge shout out to Sisters Rodeo for donating Frontline. They auctioned off a quilt. I don't know the exact number, but they decided to do that for us, and it's super amazing. So I wanted to give Sisters Rodeo a shout out today for that. But yeah. Well, man, I love you, and you're one of my closest friends, and this has been awesome doing this and getting to hear about everything. And
I appreciate it, buddy.
oh, yeah.
Love you too.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.